I'm just going to pull up this article here from Pirate Wires by Nic Carter, who's a venture capitalist. And he wrote this piece called Operation Chokepoint 2.0, which is really interesting. I suggest people go and look at that themselves. And he just presents a bunch of evidence, kind of things that you're speaking about here, about what it looks like, which is that it seems like they're trying to basically quash crypto. But then in this second piece called Did the Government Start a Global Financial Crisis in an Attempt to Destroy Crypto? He basically outlines what are the unintended consequences of all of these things happening. And in this, there's some really interesting details as well because, you know, we've seen Silicon Valley Bank go down, but they weren't necessarily really a crypto bank, right? But there was Signature, and then what was the other one?
SVB.
Silvergate.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yes, Silvergate, right? And so those two were kind of more serving crypto clients, and then poof, what happened?
Yeah, that's right. And those are great articles by Nic Carter, who has been documenting all of this, and was one of the first people to really point out how this was a coordinated attack by the regulators. And so that first wave of it came in January and early February, where all the regulators were making these new guidelines, and again, not making a specific rule, just pressure that, hey, if you're involved with this stuff, we might find it very risky. And banks shouldn't be doing this, or from the SEC, come in and register. Why aren't banks doing this? Well, there's no possible way to do that. And so then the SEC, takes them all to court because claiming that they're not in compliance. And so Nick outlined a lot of evidence about that being a coordinated attack. And then comes the second round more recently with the bank failures that happened a few weeks ago. The first one, Silvergate, was a bank that was very strongly involved with a number of crypto companies and was very supportive of the crypto industry. They had some losses and withdrawals and ended up closing. They actually weren't closed by the regulators, but they may have been receiving some regulatory scrutiny. And so they preemptively, before they actually became insolvent, decided that they were going to shut down. The next two, SVB and then Signature Bank, were both closed by the FDIC preemptively. They appeared to have been taking some losses on their portfolios. This is all kind of well known. They had some interest rate risk on their bonds. They had what would have been normally considered a very safe portfolios with safe bonds. But it just happens that the Federal Reserve had to raise interest rates because they had ignored this problem of inflation, right? And so even those safe bonds potentially lost a lot of money. And then the Federal Reserve comes in, the FDIC comes in and closes those companies down, takes them into receivership before they were in default. But they preemptively did that, which they have the right to do. But it's curious that these were two banks that were highly involved with the crypto industry. And so it seems like there may have been some political motivation. And, Barney Frank of the Dodd-Frank Act, who is very pro-regulation, happens to be on the board of Signature and came out publicly and said, we were a safe bank. We had solved the problems that they were talking about, that they were worried about, and we were shut down anyway. And I believe that this is because of our dealings with the crypto industry. And then after he said that, it became public that the bank that bought Signature did not buy the crypto part, and so bought the bank and is divesting the whole crypto segment. And so, this is leading a lot of people to say, look, this seems like a coordinated attack on the crypto industry. These banks that were all dealing with crypto, they're suddenly out of business.
Yeah, Nic Carter goes so far as to call it murder. Did Silvergate die by suicide or murder, right? And so, and he provides the receipts. So I definitely encourage people after listening to this, if they have some time, to go and read those articles because there's a lot of detail in there, and to just try and figure out,